Welcome, everybody, back to the Martin E. Segal Theater Center here at the Graduate Center CUNY in the City University of New York from Manhattan. Welcome to Segal Talks. It's another week of listening to voices from artists around the world. Yesterday, we had an update from Indonesia, a very significant, I thought, inspiring talk of the theater community coming together in that big nation, the fourth largest nation, the greatest Muslim population in the world, and how the arts are working there, where is no real government funding for the arts, but over 350 festivals in a year where art and life seems to be intertwined. Great supportive community. We heard devastating accounts just last week from Brazil, where artists are starving. There's no help, a hostile government, a right-wing, close to fascist government. And it's the same troubling news somehow from Hungary, part of Poland, Romania. And now we switch our focus to a country that has a great tradition of theater, one of the great superpowers, if one would say, of theaters in the history of theater. It's Italy that has brought us so much over centuries of a significant contribution to the world of theater, reinventing theater, and from early commedia groups, being the hosts, of course, a lot of Greek theaters that are throughout the south of Italy, also in Sicily, and then the great works of the Pirandellos, the Giorgio Strehlers, and it's impossible to name the Ronconis, all the names, and Massini going on now. And we have a very special update today from Italy, and it's from Palermo, from Sicily. And we have with us the Honorable Mayor of the city of Palermo, is Leoluca Orlando. Thank you for joining us. The great Pamela Villoresi, a great actor, actress, director, and she runs the Teatro Biondi in Sicily. And also with us is Adham Darawsha, who is the president of the Cultural Council in Palermo. Palermo, of course, is a city that is, as life itself, full of contradictions, full of everything that's good is good, and things that are not good are not good. But they are close, of course, to the front lines of the new development when it comes to refugees, when it comes to immigration, and much, much, much closer than everybody else is perhaps in Europe. And so we would like to hear what is going on. So Leoluca, first of all, thank you really for taking the time to talk to us. I know how much you work. You are a legend in Italy for your work, for supporting the arts, but also for your work for refugees, to keep Palermo an open city. But how is it now in the time of Corona? What's going on in the city of Palermo? Could you hear us? Yeah, maybe you come up. So Pamela, let's go to you right away.
Okay.
What's going on in Palermo?
Okay, I have to tell you, in the famous war between state and mafia in Palermo, thanks to Leoluca and many heroes like judges and so on, won the state. So now we can call Palermo the town of culture. And every day there is some museums that is open. And when I arrived to direct the theater, Leoluca, the mayor, asked me, please destroy the wall around the theater and put the theater in all the town, in poor areas of the town and so on. And that's what I did. Leoluca was the mayor when 30 years ago he invited Pina Bausch for her show Palermo, Palermo. And if you remember, at the beginning of the show, you could see a wall, and after 2-3 minutes, all the wall fall down. And so he said, just that. And so we really started to bring the theater out of the world, of the whole, and to go in all the parts of the town for all the persons of the town. And we started to create a lot of synergy with all the cultural institutions of the town, not only cultural, even for assistants, voluntaries, and so on. And that was, I think, a little bit my signature of my of my brief for the moment, direction. But now we have Leoluca. He can tell you about the coronavirus period in Palermo. Leoluca.
Okay, Leoluca, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear, and I wish just to say thanks for your attention. I wish to say that after a sanitary test, lucky negative, about me, I lived in quarantine. And my wife says that she spoke more along with me when I worked outside than now that I work inside in my home. Because I spend all my time just trying to govern the city, remaining at home. But it means that probably now I am a startup. Mm-hmm. I am mayor since 35 years, but I feel like a startup because I think that everything changed. And I wish just to start from freedom from fear. Freedom from fear. I am really honored because 14 April of this year, I had to receive by King and Queen of Holland, by the Roosevelt Foundation, the Freedom from Fear Award. Mm-hmm. Of course, it was postponed, and I will receive next year this fantastic prize. And really, I say thanks for the attention to me, but attention to the city of Palermo, because we probably know what does mean to be free from fear. There's only one way to be free from fear, to take care and to prevent. We just fight against the mafia, taking care and preventing. Not only with the repression, not only with law enforcement, but even with the cultural prevention. Because the fight against the mafias is something like a Sicilian cart with two wheels. One wheel is the wheel of law enforcement, other wheel is the wheel of the culture. The two wheels have to march at the same speed. If the wheel of repression marches, I remember tolerance zero, marches more fast than the wheel of culture, the cart doesn't go forward, get round. And people would say it was better when it was worse. So we just fighting the mafia, decided not to respect the law, but to respect the rights. In many cases, the state law are against the human rights. Lucky, our Republican Constitution does protect the human rights, and the International Convention protect the human rights. So we have not been only the city of legality of the law, but we wish to be the city of legality of the rights. I am really proud to say that we have no foreign, no migrant in Palermo. When somebody asks to me, how many migrants are in Palermo, I reply, no one. Who lives in Palermo is Palermitan. And I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry for you. If one day you will come in Palermo, you will be obliged to be Palermitan. For my former decision.
Yeah,
course,
just to repeat. Yeah.
You can leave Palermo when you wish.
Just to repeat what Leoluca said, he said there are no foreigners, there are no migrants in Palermo. Everybody who is in Palermo is part of the city of Palermo. So this is an incredible statement. We know your legendary action when you went onto a ship full of refugees that was rejected by Italian government. You filled out forms, immigration forms, and said everybody should come in here. Did the immigration, the migration, did it revive the city? Was it part of the renaissance, of the rebirth of Palermo?
All the Palermitans were important, including the so-called migrant. And I wish to say that 1 year ago, the former Minister of Interior, Matteo Salvini, when I decide I will not respect the law because I respect the Constitution, he said that just in a press conference, I will send the army to arrest, to stop Orlando. After 1 year, Salvini is not yet Minister of Interiors, and the army did not arrive. I'm waiting for the army, but they did not arrive because I think that no one can go against the protection of human rights. What is really important is that I am not a crazy, probably yes I am. I'm not a crazy, isolated mayor. What I feel, what I say is supported, is just sponsored, just by the high majority of population. I'm not a philosopher. I'm proud to be honorary doctor in German philosophy in the University of Trier, but I'm a jurist. I'm not a philosopher. I am a politician. I've been with these ideas elected and re-elected in Palermo. Please stop 3 minutes and think how different and better is Palermo just in comparison with other cities in the world. We applied the same strategy just against the virus, just like the mafia. Prevention and taking care. Prevention and taking care. And I wish to tell you that today, Palermo is the biggest city having less infected and less people who died. You can imagine that in the province of Palermo, it means 1,300,000 inhabitants, we had totally 34 people who died. 34.
Incredible.
34. And may I tell you, I have not to say that, in the city of Palermo, there is the city that I govern, we had six. Because I said and I cried, you have to obey, you have to obey. Then I prayed and prayed, please obey, respect the law. And the population followed me. And I think that today we are just like in the past and better than the past. We are exciting and safe. We were safe. Just speaking about criminality, we wish to remain safe, speaking about sanitary dimension, respect of the health. And I think that I am a startup. So I spent these 2 months, including the quarantine, of course, at the beginning, to try to counter the 1,000 little and enormous emergencies, sanitary emergencies. But since the last 4 weeks, when I just controlled that the virus did not expand in the city of Palermo, I take care of the future. Just 1 hour before, together with Pamela, together with the Deputy Mayor for Cultures, we spoke about the future of the city of Palermo, starting from music and theater, because we are just ready just to play the role of startup, of course. And I wish only to say something about the virus. I think that the COVID-19 is a natural event, natural tragedy, just like the eruption of a volcano, just like an earthquake, or if you prefer, just like a war, where responsible is not the earth, but responsible are the states of the human beings. Well, we have now to counter the largest natural event in the history of humanity, because the volcano eruption is local, the earthquake is local. Even the Second World War was not so expansive like the virus, because we have a lot of states not involved in the Second World War, but involved by the virus. It means that our life has to change. It's changing in the dimension of the time. The people are living in a different way, the time. They are living in a different way, just the right to be in good health condition. And I think that any artistic plan, any political plan, any economic plan has to start from the respect of the of the health. It is just the starting point. That means respect of human rights. Now, I think that Palermo is in a special position, advanced, because for us to respect human rights is domestic life. It's just the life of every day. No one will come in Palermo because the cathedral is fantastic. No one will come in Palermo because our museum, our theater are really splendid. Everybody will ask, we will be safe, we will be sanitary safe, and we are just planning the sanitary safety of the city. We are accustomed to get the safety. Fantastic. In the past, it was the safety coming from security. Today is the safety coming from the respect of the health. And as I told you, I think we are the only city in the world not having a deputy mayor for culture. We have no deputy mayor for culture. We have a deputy mayor for cultures, not for culture, cultures. Respecting the identity of everybody, because identity is the supreme right, the supreme human right. Every human being is a cocktail, is a cocktail. The Sicilian identity does not exist because each Sicilian is different. I think that even each American or each German is different. Yeah. Only the fascists pretend to say that we are all with the same identity. No thanks. My identity is different from the identity of everybody because we think that we are to be different to be equal. Somebody said just reaching the coast of the United States. To be different to be equal. We are different because we are human beings.
And also we have the right. Yeah, we have the right to be different. Le droit de la différence, as the French says. So this is an incredible account.
Parfait. Je ne suis pas. Je ne suis pas palermitaine parce que ma mère et mon père étaient palermitaines. Je suis palermitaine parce que j'avais établi d'être palermitaine.
And if we hear, Luca, if you wait a second, to say this is a 6-term mayor of a town that was not in good shape, a town that now has won, as Pamela and others in the fight against mafia, where culture has played an important role. And as we heard from Brazil now, or from Hungary, where government are not working right, they have forms that do not work, they do not serve, and also they are hostile to culture. This is an example where government works, it keeps safe,
they are not,
also keeps culture in it. So maybe we ask Adham, as the president of the Cultural Council, how does theater and performance fit in? What difference does it make in the life of the city of Palermo?
He was president of the Council of Culturists. Now he's the mayor for Culturists. Okay.
Culturists. So how do you come in? What difference does theater make in the city?
Yes, thank you very much, Frank. Thank you very much to everybody. As the mayor stated, I was the first president of the City Council for Culture, which was the city council that represents everybody who was born in another country. We don't call it the City Council for Migrants, we call it City Council for Cultures. It was my first political experience. Now I'm Executive Chancellor of Culture, the Deputy Mayor for Culture. So I'm in the city government. And it's very interesting that someone like me today, in these days, in these months, is running the culture sector in Palermo, and running the business in this period is very difficult. But Frank, you asked a very interesting question. You said how much did migrants or migration contributed on changing, on creating the renaissance of Palermo. We have a lot of examples on that. And every kind of contribution that I can state now, it always linked to the cultural issue. Because culture for us, we have proved in these years that culture is a very important instrument of social inclusion, of putting people together, people that they are very different between them. When they meet, they don't have always anything in common. So you can stick people together by culture. And the work that Pamela has done with the Beyond the Theater and the work that the Teatro Massimo, our lyric opera house, does, and the work that everybody does. We do a lot of cultural activity that it's addressed to social questions. So it's our way of taking care of things. So when we speak about a crisis like COVID-19 or any other crisis that the city had in these years, you will always see that we handle the situation using culture. You know, you can speak about COVID-19 by health measurement, by health, sanitary actions. I'm a general practitioner myself. I'm a doctor, so I think that I still work as a general practitioner, though I'm deputy mayor of Palermo. For us, culture, it's not only a word. It's not something that you go there on Friday or Saturday and you live 1 hour, 2 hours in a theater, on a cinema house. It's not like that. For us, we decided that culture for us, we decided and we take it on in this year, that culture for us is the base of our action. And we are speaking about secure city. We are speaking about secure city because we speak about a city that take care of everyone. You know, the mayor has spoken about this concept regarding taking care of people. It's very important not to have any invisible areas in the city. It's very important that people are visible, that we can help poor people. We can help people who are coming to our country after, you know, having a very long journey in Africa and then in the Mediterranean Sea. We can help people that are facing now very difficult economic action. Making people visible is very important because it's the only way that you can assure that you have a secure city. So being inclusive, being, how you say, tolerance, being culturally involved with the place that you live in is a very important instrument that make your city secure. I handle myself this situation in my first experiment as a experience as a president of the city council for cultures, dealing with the migrants community. We had a lot of people who didn't really run their usual life, their daily life by the rhythm of the city. And we make it that now they are a part of the city rhythm. It's very important for a big city to have everyone involved. And I can assure you, there is nothing that makes people involved and make people feel together than culture.
That's incredible. Normally we hear stories or we see films that people from Sicily went away to United States, which was a country of openness where things were working, where they had a chance for a better life. And now it seems all of a sudden that things are reversed. Pamela, Adham said, we work to make things right. The mayor said, this is an open town. This is a healthy town, a safe town. Tell us about your work. How do you take care of things, as Adham said?
So I have to tell you, when I was very happy to come in Palermo, because we have really a renaissance, un rinascimento in this moment in the town. And so it's very touching. And one of the first production I wanted, because, you know, the duty of a national theater like we are, is to talk about the land sculpture. But the land sculpture is not only Pirandello from Sicily, is not the culture of the past. For instance, the culture of the moment, of the present, for instance, is the culture of 30,000 Indians. They are Palermitani now, and from Pakistan to Sri Lanka, but most of them are Bengali. So I called a very good dramas writer, and she spent 5 months in all the areas where the Bengali lives and so on. And she was listening all the story. We were shooting all the interviews, and all the stories, we created Bengala Palermo. That will be the next show. I mean, it's a show that had to have the premiere on the 8th of May. And unfortunately, we have to postpone on the next spring. But anyway, it's one of the next production. And they are so happy to participate to the life of the town. And I have to tell you one thing. Many Indians, of course, they have different religion, mostly Catholic and Hinduist. They have only one fest, religious fest. They are all together for Santa Rosalia, that is the saint of the town. And you know, there are many persons, they walk up in the mountain to be in the cave, to go in the cave where is the statue where the saint lived. And so there are thousands of persons, they go up, they call a chianata when you go up. And so there are more or less every September 1,500 Bengalis that go up to do the Acchianata, and the Rosalia is the common point of the three religions of the Bengalis, you know, it's culture.
Incredible. Mayor, first of all, congratulations on putting regulations in place that the COVID didn't spread. Congratulations for 6 terms where you turned around a city that was a model for what's not working, and now having something shining that is working. For you personally, what does art mean? What does theater mean for you as a person?
His life.
I wish only just to say something, just because I think the best way to communicate is not to say words, is to tell stories. The words are all the same, are all perfect, are all dead. The stories are all different, are all different. They are all not perfect. So I can tell you stories, not words. One story is that Adham Darawsha take care of the people because he was in this a doctor. And being a doctor, you know, doesn't mean to take care of the people. And just speaking about Palermo, the candles of Leoluca in Palermo were switched on by imam, by the mayor, by an Hindu leader, I forgot, by a rabbin too. I mean, just we think that no one can accept that we divide us in the name of God. I believe in God, but please don't ask me the name of God. When I am in a mosque, I pray for Allah. When I am in a synagogue, I pray for Yahweh. When I am in the Hindu temples, I pray for Shiva. When I am in a Buddhist community, of course, I am with Buddha. And in this moment, when I am in a Christian church, I pray Jesus Christ. No one can divide in the name of God the man from the other man. It's not a philosophy, it's daily life, it's my life. And I am really proud because it was really a luxury for me. I was able just to do what I feel and to be elected and re-elected. It's terrible. I think that is a fantastic luck. I can die in 5 minutes. And if I die, I can say I die lucky, mission accomplished. Not completed. There's something to do. But accomplished. Because I did my contribution to the cultural change, the change of the mind of the people. I think is a terrible privilege to be part of a community. I am a person, we are a community. That is alternative, I am an individuum, and we are a closely group. So in Palermo, I'm a person, we are a community. And I think that everybody understands what I wish to say, that I am, of course, I'm not against Mr. Salvini. I'm not against Mr. Salvini. I'm not in competition with Mr. Salvini. He plays cricket. I play volley. I play another sport, another field with other rules. So we are not in competition. It is completely alternative. So we are alternative to populism because the populism has no respect for the time. The populist thinks that it's possible to change it soon. without respect of the past, without the project of future. Therefore, the populists, they use tweet and slogan. Tweet and slogan. We don't use tweet and slogan, we tell stories, because we have respect of the past, and we are sure that without respect of the past, it means respect of the time, it's not possible to build the future. The theater is giving in this moment in Palermo, and I have to say thanks to Pamela, because we are demonstrating that it's possible to have theater without theater. It's possible to have school without school. It's possible to have church without churches. It is the gift of the digital. We have only two things really global, the virus and the digital. We wish to connect the fight against the virus, and we wish to use the digital, not to be used by digital. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. And this is interesting what you say. You say theater tells stories, and we need to tell stories, not slogans. We need to make people visible, and theater is one way to do that.
May I say, probably is exactly the role of theater, to tell stories.
Yeah. That is amazing. So Pamela,
Frank,
I hear you also have during the times of the Corona, and this is why the great Elisabeth Hayes, who is joining us here, listening in, and will help us out if we can't find the right Italian word, even so she's a speaker of French and English and Italian. But thank you, Elisabeth, for putting us all together. It was her suggestion that we focus on Palermo. She said this is an extraordinary story, and we did so. So Pamela, what do you do during the time of Corona? Your theater that is so deeply rooted in community, that plays a vital role in the renaissance of Palermo. What did you close, or what are you doing at the moment?
We had to close. They closed because in Italy we have in the regions different situations of Corona. In the north,
I think we lost her.
no, it just froze for a moment.
Just froze for a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure she's talking about Bergamo.
And,
Here we go.
So hard.
Here we are.
You're back. Yeah, in Bergamo, where it was a terrible situation. Yeah,
terrible in Milan, terrible. We have not that situation. So we heard that they were closing all the theaters in the north. And so I just contacted some association companies of video. And so we were ready to shoot live and to go in live streaming with the show. They closed our theater. We just had the premiere. Leoluca and Adham were there. And so we announced that we had to close the theater. And for 3 days, we have been acted for live streaming with the cameras and the direction, live direction. And we had so many spectators in all over the Italy, not only in Italy.
So the same production, Pamela, so the production you stopped, you showed live every evening.
Yeah, for 3 days with only one spectator. The first one was our mayor. The second day, a famous photographer, Letizia Battaglia, and so on. And
so one person came in your theater, then it was
one
filmed,
person. They could,
and everybody in Palermo.
Could.
And everybody in Palermo or who has an internet access could see the show.
Of course, for free, without money, for free. Yeah. And it was a fantastic message because the show was about Frida Kahlo. And the title is Viva la Vida. No one title was so perfect for the period. And we were telling the story about a woman that was obliged to be closed in her room for years because of the accident of the tram and because of the 33 chirurgical operations she had. But in that prison, in that block, she started to paint. And so she became immortal. So with this message, we closed the theater and we started to go online in our social, come si dice, come si chiamano?
Social media.
Media. In our social media, with the interviews, of course, with some shows about our archivio, but also to share the creative process of our productions with students and with all the public. And so we called the directors, the costumes design, the scenery design, the musicians, to talk with the public. For instance, for one production that was a comedy of Latin word, Aulularia of Plauto, we wanted to have 300 students in the theater to talk with them about the treatment that you have to do when you do the translation from an ancient language to a modern one to be comic. You have to be to trade, of course. So which treatment and so on. And the surprise was that we had our 300 students from home, but
they
we
were
had
online, they were
other
participating.
5,000 students from all over the world. And so I thought it's fantastic. I really hope to see our students as soon as possible in our theater, but I don't want to renounce anymore to the other 5,000 in all over the world. We have to say, the persons of my age, I'm 63, we are a little bit Jurassic with the new technologies. And most of theater's artists, they are Jurassic.
So
this was an opportunity to
so over 5,000 people,
our mentality and to open our mentality to the digital. And so we are organizing a lot of work on digital, not really the show, because of course theater is one person that talks about human stories to other persons. So this is the theater. But all the way, all the process we do to arrive to the premiere, like a birth, can be like a pregnancies shared with all the public, with the students, and not only with the
So you
students.
prepare dramaturgically, you show the process, but do you also do daily programming now? Or
yeah, of course.
What do you do?
Quite every day, yeah. And
What do you show?
Yes, I explained some shows we had in the archivios, a lot of interviews, and there are a lot of actors. They gave us some reading about classical poems, Divina Commedia, a lot of things, even for little children, and especially for the students. They are studying at home is very difficult, you know. But if you have an actor that reads for you the poems, or Divina, or Dante, or Leopardi, everyone, Shakespeare, it's more easy, I think. So
you commission artists, theater artists, to program, to tape something, and you show it live at 6:30 p.m. or something.
And especially with our young actors, our students of our school, so even they could get some money, because we have a very good, how do you say, government health for workers, and financial help from government assistance. Okay. But for freelance, there are only 800 euros per month, and not for everybody, especially for young freelance artists. So we could pay them, and we involved them to create something for digital, but from theater actors. That was very interesting.
A great idea.
Was very interesting.
Yesterday we heard from Indonesia, from the Paper Moon, the company. They they asked people, pay $10, 3 people, and then they create a story based on suggestions from audiences, or they send little boxes to make a puppet for people at home, students. People make the puppet at home and they create stories. So it's another way around. So there are many ways, and your way is a fantastic way to reach out. Adham, what do you want artists to do? You are the president and next to the mayor, but for you, what do you need from artists at the moment? What do you want them to contribute? What is of essence?
It's not an easy question, you know. You ask the mayor, what do you think about art and culture? And I told you that it is his life.
Mm-hmm.
I am involved for this period that we have a lot of discussion with a lot of artists who live and work in Palermo. There are a lot of them that have chosen Palermo to live here. They come from other cities from Italy, and we have a direct and a frank discussion about the situation. It's not easy to say what do you want from them. It's what I want for them. I would really want that our government and the European Union and in any other country, being an artist, it's a state of mind. We accept that, but it's a job too. And they should be helped to be able to produce their cultural activities without being worried every day and every month on how to pay the rent. I think I'm a dreamer. I think I dream about a way of like a substitution that the state just pay the artists to do their part in our society, because I think that artists, singer, cultural operator are very important to our society, like doctors, lawyers, and any other else. It's not easy to understand the life of artists in Italy and in Europe. Usually, as Pamela said, a lot of them, the freelance, they don't have a fixed income, and it's very difficult for them. So this is what we ask the government to try to help them more, because being an artist is not only a state of mind, it's a situation that you have to run on your life. We try in Palermo to be very near them and to help them on passing this period. That it's not an easy period. Frank spoken about artists in Brazil and in Indonesia and other countries that they are dealing with very difficult questions. What I really dream about art and culture in general is to make you understand what I really think. I think that here in Palermo, we don't have migrants, but I think it's a free sentence. I know it's a very crazy idea, but we don't have artists too, because art and culture belong to everyone. And when I meet with Pamela and when I go to the theater, she makes you feel a part of the theater. When you go to small theaters in Palermo, when you go to Teatro della Ballata or Spazio Franco, you go there, you are not an artist. You are not a cultural operator. It's not your job, but you feel a part of this place. When you go to the Massimo Theater, to the Opera Lyrica House, you feel a part. This way of making people feel belong to these places, it's the only way to give much more strength to cultural activity and to the whole sector of art and cultures. Because if the whole population feel that the art is very important for us, they will do anything to defend it. It's the same thing that we as doctors live in this phase in Italy, because as doctors, we didn't have a lot of easy period working in a country like Italy. It's not an easy job to be a general practitioner or a surgeon or whatever. But in this crisis, a lot of people understood that we are saving the country. We are saving the health of people. And I want you to understand that I think that artists and cultural activity will save our society. That's why I will do everything to try to give them the whole support that they need, and they need a lot of it.
Incredible.
May I?
What?
Yes,
May
please. Go ahead.
What Adham said is not the present, the future, it's even the past. In 1987, Pina Bausch, coming from Wuppertal, became Palermitan, felt the soul of the city, shared our life, and she produced the Palermo. It was in 1987. It means the wall fell down 2 years before. The wall fell down in Berlin. It was a prophecy. It was a Palermitan prophecy that was just produced by a German artist that I loved. I will never stop to cry remembering my loved Pina. I wish just to say that the past, the future, and the present try to live together. Therefore, there is not only a mayor, a deputy mayor for cultures. There is a deputy mayor, is a lady, for school and job. School and job. Just to send the message that we have to go to promote the school outside the classes, and to promote the job inside the classes. I mean, this is a cultural change. Another deputy mayor is very old, is 26 years old. 26 years old, is very, very old. It means that when I started to be mayor, he was not born. And so he know what I did, just speaking with the father and the mother, because he did not know what I did when I was mayor. Now he's deputy mayor. He's take care of young people and innovation. Young people and innovation.
Incredible. Incredible also for us who work in...
It is what we call cultural change. For us, it is normal. No one protested when a Palermitan born in Nazareth, because Adham was born in Nazareth, of course. He and another person were born in Nazareth. Not only he came from Nazareth, even Jesus Christ. I mean,
Jesus was born in Bethlehem.
Yes, but the family came from Nazareth.
You know, we have the hospital.
The family came from Nazareth.
Yeah, but they have problem in the hospital in Nazareth, so they went to Bethlehem.
Alors, let us discuss about Jesus Christ, speaking with Adham, that is Muslim, of course.
Yes.
If I can,
Sure.
I want to tell you that what we have really understood, I hope, in this situation of COVID is that we are safe together because we are part of a greater whole. And that was what I really wanted to do with the Biondo Theatre, to create synergy with all institutions of the town. For instance, the most important is with the university. We have a lot of students now that are in our internship in our theater. For instance, for molecular biology, they have a restoration course, and they are doing some pictures. They are black from a big fire of 30 years ago. We have students of Beaux-Arts, Le Belle Arti. They are designing the scenery and for us, and so on and so on. But now, we have just signed the convention 2 days ago. Our school theater will be the first university diploma of Italy. And from October, we will start in October, and we are
First
very happy. The
university,
students
in
in
what
the
sense?
morning.
I mean, there are many theater universities. First diploma for...
No.
Frank,
No,
Elizabeth, say it.
Yeah, no, it's just there is a remarkable theater school connected to the Teatro Biondo, and they study, but now as of this new agreement, which thanks to Pamela's initiative, they will receive a university, it will be a university level diploma, because you don't have arts universities in Italy. So it's the first time that the theater course will be recognized on a university level diploma. It's extraordinary.
Extraordinary. And you also put together theaters.
The double diploma.
And you also put together theaters in Sicily, right? To try to create a union. Is it also, does it happen in Corona time?
Yes, during this period. No, we started before, many months before, to call the other theaters, the other town, to create the Association of Sicilian Theatre, because there are many regions like Tuscany and so on. They have a circuit, an association of the theaters. And that can be a very good job for Sicily, because you don't pass through the Sicily, you have to come from the other parts of Italy, and it's very expensive. So if you invite a production from Milan, for instance, if you have to pay a lot of airplanes and the track for scenery and so on, can be very good if you have an association of theater. Now you can divide all this money and so on. But also because a lot of theaters of little town, they are closed for many years. So if we create an association, now is the moment to reinforce the base, because especially in the autumn, we don't know if we can have some invitation, invite productions, so guest productions. The mobility, we don't know what it will be in the autumn, special for our production to go out. So maybe is a good moment to reinforce our situation. And we are quite ready to sign the document. We are
Incredible.
just 15 theaters for the moment.
In a time when theaters, one second, but in a time when theaters are closing down in the US, the richest country of the world, when it looks like everything is in danger, there's a town in Italy where you think of reopening theaters during Corona time, that theaters that have been closed for decades. We have a mayor who has been moved by his theater piece of a dance choreographer that was important for a vision for his city. So it's a foundational myth almost, to have theater. If we always think, what does theater really do? Then I guess you can look at Palermo and say this made the mayor or the future mayor, or he was already mayor, think.
May I say that for us, the lockdown was not, we had not a lockdown, we had the pregnancies. And now we are ready.
But Leoluca, all of this, what Pamela is doing now, what Adham is doing now, they are walking in your dream of a city. They are part of the dream workers who walk in what you dreamt up. Inside you, what voice was it that told you, I should become a politician, I should change the city, and I want to have art as part of it? Where does that come from?
Leoluca.
I am just to tell stories, not only to say words. Everything for me started the 6th January 1980. In 6th January 1980, the president of Sicilian region, it means the governor of Sicily, was killed by politicians and by mafiosi. He was named the yes, I'd say. He was killed, and the name was Piersanti Mattarella, the president of the Sicilian region. By the body of the killed president were two persons: the brother of Piersanti, Sergio Mattarella, a professor of the university.
Is our president now.
The brother of the killed president, professor of the university, my colleague, were in the same department. He was teaching parliamentary law, I was teaching constitutional law. And I was the legal advisor of Piersanti, the killed president of the Sicilian region. And Piersanti was assistant university of my father, because my father was the decan of the faculty of law in the University of Palermo. And he was a young lawyer in the law office of my father. When I went from the second floor to the first floor of the palace of my family, just to greet my father, I met every time the young Piersanti Mattarella. When he started to be involved in politicians, he stopped to be lawyer, giving me a terrible positive lesson. You cannot be lawyer and be involved in politics. Otherwise, you will be in conflict of interest. And I followed the example of Piersanti. When I started to be involved in politics, I was a rich lawyer, but I decided to be a poor mayor, because I think that if you are free, you can defend the freedom of everybody. By the body of the killed president, I was obliged to be involved in politics. The brother, Sergio, and the widow, Irma, told me, you cannot accept that Piersanti will die a second time. You are young, you are not 30 years old. you don't know the politician, you have never met the politician who killed the Piersanti, you are pretty crazy. I occupied the faculty of law, where my father was the dean. Then I went to live 2 years in Germany, where I occupied the faculty of law, where the dean was not my father, so no problem in family in Germany. And I could not say no. And I candidate in the first election. Sergio Mattarella, at the time professor in the university, candidated city council member to vote for me as mayor, because at that time the mayors were elected inside by the city council members. And I started to show my experience. So when Sergio Mattarella was elected president of the Italian Republic, is our president of the Italian Republic, I called him and said, Sergio, mission accomplished. You are the president of the Italian Republic. I'm the mayor of Palermo, and the mafia doesn't govern any longer the city of Palermo. So you can understand why I cannot have compromise with the mafiosi, because it should be against my life, against the sense of my life. Therefore, I say, if I will die in 5 minutes, I will die lucky and saying mission accomplished. Not completed, but accomplished. Now I'm sorry, but I have to leave, because at 7 o'clock, I have an appointment, because I have to fight against some friend of mine, the minister of the Italian government. I have to fight against them in name of my party. My party is Palermo, and the name of Palermo, I fight against everybody. But I am really happy. I'm really happy because I convinced, I say to all the 90 mayors in Sicily, I'm the president of 390 mayors in Sicily, with Catania, Taormina, Monreale, Cefalù, and they all accepted my vision. And we have the same party, and the party for the mayor as the name of the city they govern. So we are always together in the name of our city. And I don't take care, in this case, I don't take care of what say this party or that party. So in 5 minutes, I will fight against my friend who are in the national government in name of my party, in name of my city. Thanks for your attention. Sorry, but I really, really, really have to leave.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for joining us and for sharing this. Congratulations on your work. What a great example. And anybody who questions what good government can do, how government can change, look at the city of Palermo, look at your work, and also how you integrate the arts. It's a role model. And where art flourishes, where art is the center stage, it's a good sign for the city, for the community. It's an indicator that things are going the right way, and that Adnan said, yeah, it's a good way of taking care of things. Before you go, and maybe then I ask everybody, what do you feel, Leoluca, what do we have to focus? What do you say to our listeners or to young artists? What should we think about? What is important to keep in mind in this time of Corona?
I think that what is important for an artist is to be free from fear. To be free from fear. It means not to imagine what the people who wait, they do, but do what they feel to do. I think the real artist has to be free. When the artist is not free, is no artist. And I think that we are building new humanism. So I hope that the artists will be all crazy. I hope that the artists will be all crazy. So that I hope that all the mayors will be crazy, of course, in the sense I said before. And just speaking about new humanismus, I just was watching my iPhone because I received the really human information. My granddaughter, 18 years old, the daughter of my daughter, lives in Groningen, in Holland. Mm-hmm. She's 18 years old. 18 years old. She was just in a school of art. The school of art was closed. And she remained in quarantine. She is in quarantine in Groningen since 3 months. Now, she told me that it was accepted at the University of Paris. So she will go not in Palermo, but in Paris. But she will be Palermitan even in Paris, I'm sure. So
Fantastic.
thanks a lot.
Thank you, and congratulations.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Adham, what do you
Bye-bye.
think? Thank you, thank you. It's a great honor to
Thanks.
have you with us, and really all our respect to you and your life's
Thanks.
work. And what
Ciao,
a
Luca, a presto.
See you in Palermo. See you in
yes,
Palermo.
I will
We are
come. Yes.
exciting and safe. Exciting and safe. Don't forget. And
Okay.
even not expensive. Even not expensive.
Okay. We will be there. It's a great city and an important city to support. Adham, what do you think? Artists, we talk about, or what do you say to young artists, but in general to our listeners in this time, what do you focus about?
Well, we are exciting and safe, and we are a lot sunny. We are sunny like California and even more. No, what I really want to say to all artists, mainly young ones who are facing this period, is to be hopeful, because you have to be free from fear, but you have to have hope, because it's only hope with hope that you can build new ideas and new visions. You can be mad, you can be crazy, but if you don't have hope in you, you can't go anywhere. So to be hopeful, because we have already demonstrated in these years and these decades and centuries that the history of humankind is always evolving and going ahead. So just it's a new way of dealing with things. It's a new way of seeing things and living things. And as I always said, art has been always the key that permit us to see things differently. And I think that artists are showing us and will show us how to cope with this period in a different way. And I'm a good observer of their activities. And I have to say that since my politician role is to deal with them, and as the mayor said, he wants them even more crazy. And dealing with a lot of crazy people makes you very happy, because it makes me feel like in my family, and I'm very in this context. It's very important to understand that when things are changing, it's not the end of the world. It's a new world.
That's a big thing. Elisabeth, since you have been such a faithful listener also to our series, and you have been such a great worker in the field of cultural diplomacy, from your experience, how do you go through this, and what do you feel is of significance in this time we live in?
I did want to say that I expected to remain in the background, but I can't resist, because all of these extraordinary things that we've been hearing today, they are true. I'm a little bit on the inside and on the outside, because I'm very honored to be a teammate with Pamela and be consulting on some international projects. And I was absolutely stunned, having lived and worked in other cities in the world, primarily Paris, that there's this incredible feeling of humanism, of acceptance. When I'm in Palermo, I don't see the seams between one neighborhood and another, or one community and another. And if anything, Pamela was a little bit modest and underestimated some of the things that the theater is doing. So as for the future, first of all, I think there's a degree of flexibility in the way they're working at Teatro Biondo and the city of Palermo, thanks to the mayor and thanks to the deputy mayor for culture, where it really is a question of adapting and not leaning on the past, but using this very difficult, challenging period to be an opportunity. And I'm very excited to see what will come. But the courage and the energy and the solidarity that I have already witnessed in Palermo, and I certainly know that I will see when I return, is this says, I think, a great deal. And I've been listening to many of your Segal talks, and the contrast between one country and another is, as you pointed out, is very, very pronounced.
Our dream is to go deep in our identity, in our past, in our culture, but just to grow up and to meet all the world. Even in theater, we are connecting with many situations in all the Europe, all the world, thanks to Elisabeth. That is our collaboration. She accepted to collaborate with us. And so with Wuppertal, with Pina Bausch Foundation, with Cartoucherie Ariane Mnouchkin in Paris, with Eugenio Barba in Denmark, and so on. So we are creating something very interesting. It's very exciting.
No, that is sensational, and really thank you for this update. That is unexpected. we also don't really read about in the news, or we don't hear about it, if at all. Sicily often is in the headlines, for refugee crisis and the inability of Europe of handling such things. This is a great model. And again, it's impressive how governments and the arts work together. In a way, also what makes New York City great, that mayors have such a great respect. Bloomberg, of course, was a mayor that put also the culture in the city. He understood that it's no longer the city of manufacturing, no longer the city just of Wall Street alone. It's also a lifestyle city, and you need something to glue it all together. Tony Kushner said New York is the melting pot that never really melted. And we have real problems there. And perhaps Palermo is finding a way to melt and to combine and to do some alchemy to create a gold out of all these ingredients that are there. And I certainly will also go to see that. But it was moving to hear how significant it is for a mayor to have the arts, that he goes to theater openings, that Pina Bausch's work was so foundational to his vision. And that you really are inventing something new, that you imagine a city where someone from India or from Pakistan is part of the vision, and that is not a threat, but something to reinvent, as the Edouard Glissant, the great thinker who no longer with us, but who was also at the Grad Center, said, so many of problems are just failures of imagination, because we fail to imagine a possible world, and theater helps us. And of course, you in Palermo, you're imagining a different world, and it seems to be working just by simple looking at COVID cases and seeing that the government is making a contribution to make that city better. And here in the US, as around the world, it might not be the mafia and the cliches of the Italian ones, but there are people out there who only take advantage of others, who kill for their own advantages, and they have to be fought as much as Leoluca did over 6 terms and over decades. It took courage, and everybody has to go out. We all need to be part of the change we see, with the same energy and dedication. So really, thank you for joining us, and Pamela.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
Elisabeth.
Thank you, Elisabeth.
Yeah.
Thank you, Adam.
Yeah, and tomorrow we will have as Monty Python would say, now to something completely different. The great Richard Foreman, the great director of avant-garde theater in the world, who also created completely new forms, who said it's impossible to express with words what we really see, that we have to find different ways, new forms to understand reality, to transcend it. And he is a great master who now works mostly with film or video from his home. He will join us. Significant, also inspiring and great Thomas Oberender from Berlin, who runs the Berlin Festspiele, a significant undertaking. Not only he overlooks the Martin Gropius Museum with his Immersion Festival, he overlooks the Berlin Theatertreffen, the Berlin Film Festival, the Jazz Festival, and others. And he's a great writer on the cultural and artistic developments in Europe, has his ear very close to the earth. And I can't wait to hear from him how he experienced this time, but also what he sees, what new forms will be developing. And he always is looking for them, even before a Corona time, but it will be great to hear what's on his mind. And Philip Howe will come with Giordana, a great New York playwright, and to hear an update from the theater scene in New York and the reflections on how it is experienced. We are still the epicenter at the moment in the world of the coronavirus, with so many death people, and we don't know, can it really be opened? What will happen if we go the German way, or other ways? How will fatalities be? It's the healthcare is catastrophic. The problems that were existing are wide open, and in Latin America, as we are learning, it's only starting, and New York is so connected to every place on the planet. So it is really uncertain what will come. But as Adham said, let's not be afraid of the uncertainty of the future. This is a chance we can reinvent it. I thank you all for listening. It was an inspiring and also significant talk, and it does show, why theater and why the arts is important. We don't always feel we have to justify ourselves, but a session like today makes it clear how significant it is, and that working societies, working cities, working communities see it as a given to have a cultural presence, as the great playwright Goethe said, the German one, you know, if you have a house, you want to have nice colors, you want to have nice paintings and furniture. Do you really need it? You don't. If you have a partner in life, you want someone who is attractive, who you feel close to. And the same is with cities and countries. You have to have art, and you have to have culture, and you have to have a livable situation. You have forms that work and old forms that do not work. We have to get rid of, and we all have to be part of creating new ones. So thank you all for listening. Thanks for HowlRound, to host us, Thea and Vijay, and Travis and the Segal team, Andy and Sanyang, and hope you will tune in tomorrow for Richard Foreman. And thank you all, and Elisabeth especially, of course, for putting this together. Pamela, all the best for your work. And
thank you, Frank. To you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Frank.